Hey there, Cambridge. This is City Councilor Nadeem Mazen coming to you with an update on a recent Housing Committee meeting, one of the most poignant meetings I think I've ever been to of any kind, let alone committee meetings that I've ever been to. For some of the public comment, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. We're talking about displacement at 295 Harvard Street due to renovation, and generally getting stories about displacement and surprise evictions all over the city. Developers are buying up properties for very high price tags and trying to kind of flip them into renovations for luxury apartments. It seems like a condo conversion, but they're trying to kind of skirt rules around condo conversion. In some cases, we're talking about a change in rent from like $1,000 a bed or even under to over $3,000 per bed. We're talking about eviction with zero notice. We're talking about no flexibility on the eviction. When you do a wholesale trade of people at moderate income, and you use renovation as an excuse to get to luxury income for hundreds of people at a time, that's something that needs to involve the residents, needs to involve the city. We can't have a project of decreasing our diversity in such large numbers and not also have the input of planning and regulatory authorities. For that reason, Mark McGovern, Councillor Simmons, myself, we all introduced various motions in this meeting to try to get our planning and our resources into a situation like this. Councillor McGovern introduced a motion considering that we actually try to buy a building like this. We've tried to do that in the past. Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we're not. The costs are exorbitant, especially when you're trying to just fight with a well-capitalized developer trying to maximize its bottom line, and they know that they've got you. They know that you want to buy the building and that you need to buy the building. What I'm also proposing, and the motion that I put forward, is that these people will need building permits. These people will need certificate of occupancy. That's something they're relying on the city for, and they're relying on state statute to define. But we as a city can add to that and say, when you're displacing large numbers of people, there has to be certain considerations for early warning and work with tenants associations and residents. There has to be a certain level of rent increase, not as a matter of rent control, but just as a demonstration to the city that you're working with current residents to help them live in those apartments. And the almost insulting way in which people were encouraged to go from a price they could afford to a couple $100s a month of a bump in rent, and then, very rapidly to sometimes 350% increase in rent, was very transparently an eviction ploy, and then the evictions came. The evictions themselves came. We need to have a permitting process that includes the city in this type of plan, and if developers can't meet our needs and can't meet the needs of diversity in the city, can't meet the needs of residents who have very reasonable requests, even if they are being evicted, then I don't think this type of development and this type of planning is suitable for the city of Cambridge. We need to show developers that we mean business, and we need to show them that in a capitalist market with such low competition, you can't just come in and do whatever you want. That's why regulations exist in a capitalist market, to keep people fair and to keep people honest when they're dealing with others who have very little clout at the negotiating table. So there was great consensus amongst councilors at this meeting, and we are extremely aggressive and trying to move extremely quickly in making sure that residents at 295 Harvard Street and residents at other domiciles facing eviction and facing hardship have that type of city planning and city clout in their corner. Thank you very much. Please feel free to reach out to me on this issue or anything else in the housing arena at nadeem@votenadeem.com or nmazen@cambridgema.gov.